A freezing morning in D.C. leads to an unlikely encounter. Donald Trump steps out of his SUV to help a homeless veteran, sparking a chain reaction that changes both their lives. What happens next will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about power, kindness, and second chances. A bitter wind swept through Washington, D.C. on a gray December morning. Donald Trump, riding in his armored SUV, glanced out the window as his motorcade slowed at a busy intersection. Among the crowd, one figure stood out. A man hunched on a sidewalk grate, wearing a faded army jacket and a stained baseball cap. A cardboard sign hung around his neck. Homeless vet. Anything helps. Trump tapped the partition. Stop the car. His security team hesitated but obeyed. He stepped out, ignoring the buzz of onlookers, and walked straight toward the man. The veteran stiffened, eyes wary. Trump crouched, his breath visible in the cold. "What's your name?" he asked, his tone softer than his usual speeches. "Mike," the man muttered, avoiding eye contact. "Mike, tell me your story." Mike hesitated, then spoke in a cracked voice. He'd joined the Army at 19, served 2 tours in Iraq. A roadside bomb shattered his leg and killed his closest friend. Back home, surgeries piled up, but jobs didn't last. His wife left. His savings dried up. Now he slept under bridges. "Sometimes I wonder why I made it home," he admitted, voice breaking. "No one even sees me anymore." Trump's jaw tightened. Without a word, he stood and barked orders to his team. "Get this man a hotel room. Now, and food. Something hot. A doctor, too." Turning back to Mike, he added, "You're not invisible. Not today." Minutes later, Mike was handed a steaming burger. He stared at it like a ghost. "First real meal in weeks," he whispered. Trump stayed, watching silently as Mike ate. When a black SUV pulled up, Trump helped Mike inside, ignoring the cameras flashing. At the hotel, Mike showered, dressed in clean clothes, and collapsed onto a bed. Trump arranged a doctor's visit and left a note. "This is just the start." The next morning, Trump returned with a folder. "There's a group called Homes for Heroes," he explained. "They'll help you rebuild. And until then," he slid a check across the table, "this covers your bills. For as long as you need." Mike's hands shook. "Why are you doing this?" Trump met his gaze. "You fought for this country. Now, it's fighting for you." 2 weeks later, Mike stood in a crisp new uniform at a job training center, his posture straighter, his eyes clearer. The staff at Homes for Heroes had enrolled him in a 6-month program to become an auto mechanic, a trade he'd learned basics of in the Army. Trump's check covered rent for a small apartment, groceries, and therapy sessions. For the first time in years, Mike felt a flicker of purpose. Meanwhile, Trump's team leaked the story to the media. Headlines exploded. Trump's secret act of kindness and from homeless to hopeful, a vet's new life. Critics rolled their eyes, but Americans ate it up. At a rally in Ohio, Trump paused mid-speech. "We've forgotten our heroes," he boomed, pointing to a banner of Mike's face on the screen behind him. "But Mike reminded me, we are the ones who need to serve them now." The crowd roared. By dawn, donations flooded Homes for Heroes. Other veterans' charities saw spikes in support, too. Back in D.C., Mike received a letter. His sister, who'd cut ties years ago, had seen the news. "I'm sorry," she wrote. "Can we start over?" Mike called her that night, tears streaming down his face. Months passed. Mike graduated top of his class, landed a job at a garage, and moved into a cozy 1-bedroom apartment. He even adopted a scruffy rescue dog he named Sarge. Trump's foundation sent him a plaque, "To Mike," proof that no one fights alone. On Veterans Day, Trump invited Mike to the White House. As they shook hands on stage, Trump said, "This is what courage looks like, not just on the battlefield, but in rebuilding a life." Mike, voice steady, replied, "You gave me more than a second chance. You showed me people still care." The crowd rose in applause, but the real victory was quieter. That night, Mike texted his sister a photo of his new home. "Thanks for believing in me," he wrote.